There are moments in life when spiritual discernment becomes more important than anything else. When you begin to walk in alignment with God's purpose, you attract not only blessings but also tests disguised as opportunities, kindness, and even gifts. This message is not for everyone. It is for the chosen women, the ones who feel a deep calling, who sense that their lives are guided by something higher, and who know that not everything that shines is meant to be embraced. You may have noticed that as you grow spiritually, certain offers begin to feel off. Certain gifts come with a heaviness you can't quite explain. That's because not every gift is from God. Some are distractions, some are traps, and some are carefully wrapped spiritual attacks designed to pull you away from your divine path. Today we are going to uncover the gifts you must never accept, no matter how attractive they appear, because they go against everything God has instructed for your life. Gifts that come with hidden expectations. Chosen woman, be very careful of anything given to you with strings attached. If someone gives you something but expects control, loyalty, or silence in return, that is not a blessing, it is bondage. God's blessings do not manipulate you. They do not demand your freedom in exchange for temporary comfort. When a gift comes wrapped in subtle expectations, it may not appear harmful at first. It might look generous, thoughtful, even timely, arriving exactly when you need it most. But look deeper. Pay attention not only to what is given, but to what is silently expected in return. Some people give not out of love, but out of strategy. They plant seeds of obligation so that later they can harvest control. What begins as kindness can slowly turn into a silent contract, one you never agreed to but somehow feel bound by. You may start to feel like you owe them access to your decisions, your time, your emotions, or even your silence in situations where you should be speaking up. This is how emotional and spiritual bondage often begins, not with force but with favors. Not with chains, but with kindness that comes with invisible hooks. A chosen woman must understand that anything that compromises her freedom is not from God. God's blessings do not entangle you, they liberate you. They do not confuse you, they bring clarity. They do not pressure you, they bring peace. When something is truly from God, it aligns with His nature, pure, honest, and free of manipulation. When a gift makes you feel obligated beyond gratitude, question it. There is a difference between appreciation and indebtedness. Gratitude is light and freeing. It inspires joy and connection. Indebtedness, on the other hand, feels heavy. It creates anxiety. It makes you feel like you must perform, comply, or adjust yourself to maintain access to what was given. That is not divine, it is transactional. And God does not operate through transactions that cost you your identity. Be wise enough to recognize when generosity is genuine and when it is a disguised attempt to gain influence over your life. Not every open hand is a blessing, and not every giver has pure intentions. Some are testing your boundaries. Some are measuring how much of yourself you are willing to trade for comfort. But a chosen woman does not negotiate her freedom. She does not exchange her voice, her peace, or her identity for anything that comes with hidden conditions. God gives freely, and His blessings bring peace, not pressure. When He provides, there is no confusion attached, no emotional debt, no silent expectations waiting to surface later. His gifts align with your purpose and strengthen your walk, not weaken it. So remain discerning. Not everything that looks like provision is truly meant for you. Some things are distractions disguised as help, and others are traps disguised as generosity. Protect your freedom, because once it is slowly traded away through small compromises, it becomes much harder to reclaim. 2. Gifts that compromise your values. If a gift requires you to lower your standards, ignore your convictions, or step outside of what you know is right, it is not from God. The enemy often uses convenience to weaken discipline. There will be moments in your life when opportunities, resources, or material gifts present themselves in ways that seem almost too perfect to refuse. They may promise ease, comfort, elevation, or quick success. But beneath that surface there may be a quiet requirement, something subtle yet significant, that asks you to bend your values just a little. Not completely abandon them, but adjust them enough to fit into a situation that does not fully align with who you are called to be. And that is where the danger begins. Compromise rarely announces itself loudly. It whispers, it negotiates. It tells you that just this once won't matter, that you can return to your standards later, that you can handle the consequences. But every time you accept something that requires you to step outside your truth, you weaken your spiritual foundation. You begin to normalize what once felt wrong. Your sensitivity to conviction starts to fade, and over time, what once disturbed your spirit becomes easier to tolerate. A chosen woman stands firm. She understands that integrity is not situational, it is consistent. It does not shift depending on what is offered or who is watching. Your values are not meant to be negotiated for comfort or convenience. They are your anchor in a world that constantly tries to pull you in different directions. And anything that asks you to loosen that anchor is not aligned with your purpose. No amount of money, luxury, or opportunity is worth compromising your integrity. What you gain in the moment can cost you much more in the long run: your peace, your identity, your clarity, and your relationship with God. Some gifts come dressed as elevation, but they actually lead to spiritual decline. They may lift your external status while quietly eroding your internal strength. What God has for you will never require you to betray yourself. His blessings will align with your values, not challenge them. They will strengthen your discipline, not weaken it. They will confirm your convictions, not confuse them. When something is truly meant for you, it will not ask you to become someone you are not. It will not require you to silence your inner voice or ignore the principles that guide your life. Stay rooted in who you are. Let your standards be non-negotiable. The right opportunities will respect them, the wrong ones will test them. And it is in those moments of testing that your identity is either strengthened or compromised. Choose wisely, because every decision shapes the direction of your life. 3. Gifts from people with questionable intentions. Discernment is your protection. Not everyone who smiles at you supports you. Some gifts come from people who envy you, who study you, or who secretly wish to control your path. In life, you will encounter people who appear kind, supportive, and generous on the surface, but whose intentions are not aligned with your well-being. They may observe you closely, learn your weaknesses, understand your desires, and then use that knowledge to position themselves in your life through acts of giving. Their gifts may seem thoughtful, almost as if they truly understand you, but sometimes that understanding is not rooted in love, but in calculation. There are individuals who give not because they want to uplift you, but because they want access to you. Access to your time, your decisions, your energy, or your influence. Others may give out of envy, hoping to stay close enough to monitor your growth or subtly interfere with your progress. And some give as a way to establish control, using generosity as a tool to make you feel obligated, dependent, or emotionally tied to them. Be mindful of who is giving. A gift is not just a physical object. It carries intention. It carries energy. It carries the spirit in which it was given. And when that intention is not pure, it can create imbalance in your life. You may begin to feel drained without understanding why. You may feel emotionally entangled in ways that are difficult to explain. You may even find yourself making decisions that do not fully align with your truth, simply because of an unspoken sense of obligation to the giver. A chosen woman must operate with discernment at all times. She does not judge harshly, but she observes wisely. She pays attention to patterns, to behavior, to consistency. She understands that not everyone who enters her life is meant to stay, and not every act of kindness is rooted in genuine care. A gift from the wrong person can carry spiritual weight you do not need in your life. It can open doors to influences that disrupt your peace, cloud your judgment, or shift your focus away from your purpose. That is why it is important to stay connected to your inner guidance. If something feels off, even if you cannot explain it logically, do not ignore that feeling. Discernment is not about fear. It is about awareness. It is about protecting your space, your energy, and your path. You are not required to accept everything that is offered to you, especially when it comes from sources that do not align with your growth. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say no, even to something that looks good on the surface. 4. Gifts that distract you from your purpose. Some gifts are not evil. They are simply distractions. They take your focus away from your calling. They consume your time, your attention, and your energy. Not everything that comes into your life is meant to harm you directly. Some things are far more subtle. They do not destroy, they delay. They do not break you, they slowly pull you away from what truly matters. These are the distractions that often go unnoticed because they are not negative in an obvious way. In fact, they may even appear positive, exciting, or rewarding. But their true effect is revealed over time as you begin to drift further and further away from your purpose. A distraction does not have to be harmful to be dangerous. It simply has to be misaligned. It can be an opportunity that takes up too much of your time, a relationship that demands too much of your attention, or a lifestyle that shifts your priorities away from what you are truly called to do. You may find yourself busy, occupied, and even fulfilled on the surface, but deep within, there is a quiet awareness that you are not where you are meant to be. The enemy doesn't always destroy you directly. Sometimes he distracts you long enough that you abandon your purpose yourself. He introduces alternatives that feel easier, more comfortable, or more immediately rewarding than the path you were originally on. And over time, those alternatives become your new normal, pulling you further away from your true calling. A chosen woman must constantly evaluate what she allows into her life. Not everything deserves her time or attention. Not every opportunity is aligned with her purpose. It is important to ask yourself, is this adding to my calling or is it pulling me away from it? Is this helping me grow or is it keeping me occupied without real progress? Distractions often feel urgent, while purpose requires patience. That is why it is easy to get pulled into things that demand immediate attention, even if they do not contribute to your long-term growth. But you must learn to prioritize what truly matters, even when it is not the most exciting or immediate option. Your time and energy are valuable. Once they are spent, they cannot be recovered. So be intentional about where you invest them. Protect your focus because your purpose depends on it. Not everything that enters your life is meant to stay, and not everything that feels good is meant to guide you. Stay aligned, stay aware, and do not allow distractions to slowly lead you away from the path you were meant to walk. 5. Gifts that feed ego instead of spirit. Be cautious of gifts that inflate your ego but starve your soul. Praise, attention, luxury, these things are not bad on their own. But when they become your identity, they lead you away from humility. There is a subtle danger in receiving things that make you feel elevated in the eyes of others while quietly disconnecting you from your inner grounding. Recognition, admiration, material comfort, these can all be part of a balanced life. But when they begin to define your worth, they shift your focus from who you truly are to how you are perceived. And that shift can be more damaging than it appears. Ego-driven gifts often feel good immediately. They validate you, affirm you, and place you in a position where you feel seen and valued. But over time, they can create a dependency on external validation. You begin to seek more of that attention, more of that recognition, more of that feeling of being elevated, and without realizing it, your identity becomes tied to those external factors. A chosen woman must remain grounded, no matter how much she is elevated. She understands that true worth does not come from what she receives, but from who she is. She does not allow praise to define her or luxury to distract her from her spiritual foundation. She knows that anything that feeds the ego excessively can weaken the spirit, if not kept in balance. God elevates, but He also grounds. His blessings do not create arrogance, they cultivate humility. They do not separate you from growth, they deepen it. Anything that makes you feel above correction, above reflection, or above others is not aligned with divine purpose. Growth requires humility, and humility requires awareness. Be mindful of what you allow to shape your identity. It is easy to get caught up in appearances, in status, in the way others see you. But none of that defines your true value. Your spirit, your character, your integrity, these are the things that matter most. Do not trade depth for display. Do not exchange inner peace for outward recognition. Stay connected to your foundation, because that is what will sustain you in the long run. Ego may lift you temporarily, but it cannot sustain you. Only a strong, grounded spirit can do that. 6. Gifts that create dependence on people instead of God. A chosen woman must never become dependent on human provision over divine provision. If someone gives you so much that you begin to rely on them instead of God, that is a spiritual imbalance. There is a subtle shift that can happen when you begin receiving consistent support, help, or provision from a person. At first, it feels like a blessing, something to be grateful for, something that eases your burdens and brings comfort into your life. And in many cases, people are used as vessels to bless others. But there is a line, and that line is crossed the moment your trust begins to transfer from God to the person. What once felt like support can quietly become a source of dependence. Dependence does not happen overnight. It develops gradually, through repeated patterns of receiving. You begin to look to that person first instead of seeking God. When you are in need, your instinct is no longer prayer, it is reaching out to them. When decisions arise, you weigh their opinion more heavily than your inner guidance. Without realizing it, your spiritual alignment begins to shift. You are no longer anchored in divine provision. You are anchored in human reliability. This is dangerous, not because people are inherently bad, but because people are limited. They are imperfect, inconsistent, and unable to fulfill the role that only God can occupy in your life. When you place that level of reliance on someone, you create vulnerability, not just emotionally, but spiritually. If that person changes, withdraws, or begins to expect something in return, you may find yourself in a position where your stability is shaken. God is your source, not people. People can be vessels, but they should never replace your faith. A vessel delivers, but it is not the origin. And when you confuse the vessel for the source, you risk losing your spiritual grounding. You begin to give people power over your well-being that they were never meant to have. A chosen woman remains grateful for what she receives, but she does not become dependent on it. She keeps her connection to God strong and consistent, regardless of who is present in her life. She understands that true provision comes from a higher place, and that people are simply instruments, not foundations. If someone gives to you in a way that makes you feel like you cannot function without them, pause and reflect. That is not balance, that is dependency. And dependency can lead to control, whether intentional or not. Protect your independence, not just physically but spiritually. Stay rooted in your faith, so that no matter who comes or goes, your foundation remains unshaken. 7. Gifts that feel wrong in your spirit. Sometimes there is no logical explanation. You just feel it. That quiet discomfort, that inner resistance. There will be moments when something appears completely right on the surface, well presented, well timed, even beneficial. But deep within, there is a subtle unease that you cannot ignore. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It simply sits there, quietly nudging you, creating a sense of hesitation that you cannot fully explain. Many people dismiss this feeling because it lacks logic, because it cannot be easily justified or proven. But a chosen woman understands that not everything is meant to be processed through logic alone. Do not ignore it. That inner voice, that feeling in your spirit, is one of your greatest forms of protection. It is often the first signal that something is not aligned, even when everything outwardly suggests that it is. The mind may try to rationalize, to justify, to find reasons to accept what is being offered, but the spirit knows. And when there is a disconnect between what you see and what you feel, it is important to honor what you feel. God often speaks through your spirit before your mind understands. That is why discernment does not always come with immediate clarity. Sometimes it comes as discomfort. Sometimes it comes as hesitation. Sometimes it comes as a quiet no that does not yet have words attached to it. And in those moments, your ability to trust that voice becomes crucial. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. That does not mean you need to have all the answers. It does not mean you need to explain your decision to anyone else. It simply means you need to trust yourself enough to step back, to pause, and to protect your space. A chosen woman does not override her intuition to please others or to take advantage of an opportunity. She understands that peace is a signal, and so is discomfort. Both are guides, both are messages, and ignoring those messages can lead you into situations that are difficult to untangle later. Trust that voice. It is there to protect you, it is there to guide you, it is there to keep you aligned with what is truly meant for you. The more you listen to it, the stronger it becomes. The more you ignore it, the quieter it gets. And in a world full of noise, your ability to hear and trust your inner guidance is one of the most valuable things you have. 8. Gifts used to silence you. If someone gives you something to keep you quiet, to stop you from speaking truth, or to make you tolerate what you shouldn't, that is not a gift. That is control. There are moments when generosity is used not as an act of kindness, but as a strategy to influence behavior. A person may offer you something valuable, money, opportunities, support, or protection, but beneath that offering is an unspoken expectation that you will remain silent about something that matters, that you will overlook certain behaviors, that you will tolerate situations that go against your truth. This form of control is particularly dangerous because it does not feel like control at first. It feels like favor, it feels like advantage, it feels like something you would be unwise to reject. But over time, the cost of that acceptance becomes clear. You begin to hold back your voice. You begin to filter your truth. You begin to choose comfort over honesty, simply because of what you have received. Your voice is powerful. It is a part of your identity, your purpose, and your integrity. When you silence it in exchange for temporary comfort, you lose more than you gain. You lose your alignment. You lose your authenticity. You lose the ability to stand fully in who you are. A chosen woman does not trade her voice for convenience. She does not allow herself to be placed in a position where her truth is compromised for the sake of maintaining access to something external. She understands that anything that requires her silence in the face of what is wrong is not aligned with her path. Do not trade truth for comfort. Do not allow yourself to be bought into silence, because once you begin to suppress your voice, it becomes easier to continue doing so. And over time, that silence can become a habit, one that distances you from your true self. Stand firm in your truth, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it costs you something, because what you retain, your integrity, your clarity, your alignment, is far more valuable than anything you could gain by staying silent. 9. Gifts that pull you back into old patterns. Be careful of gifts that reconnect you with people, habits, or environments God already removed from your life. Growth often requires separation. There are people, places, and patterns that you leave behind, not because they were entirely bad, but because they were no longer aligned with who you are becoming. And once that separation happens, it creates space for transformation. But sometimes, the past does not stay in the past. It returns, subtly, strategically, often disguised as something positive. Not everything that returns is meant to stay. A gift can become a doorway back into old patterns. It may reconnect you with someone you once distanced yourself from. It may reintroduce habits you worked hard to break. It may pull you back into environments that no longer support your growth. And because it comes in the form of something appealing, something familiar, something comfortable, it can be difficult to recognize it for what it truly is. Sometimes the past comes back dressed as a blessing, but it is actually a test of your growth, a test of your awareness, a test of whether you will remain aligned with your current path or be drawn back into what you have already outgrown. A chosen woman must be able to recognize these moments. She must be able to pause and ask herself, does this align with who I am now or who I used to be? Is this moving me forward or pulling me backward? Growth requires consistency. It requires boundaries, and sometimes it requires saying no to things that once felt familiar or even desirable. Just because something was once part of your life does not mean it belongs in your future. Protect your progress. Do not allow temporary comfort or nostalgia to undo the work you have done. Stay aligned with your path, and trust that what is truly meant for you will not require you to go backward to receive it. Gifts that replace God's timing with immediate gratification. God's timing is intentional, but some gifts tempt you to rush the process. They offer instant results instead of lasting fulfillment. In a world that prioritizes speed, convenience, and immediate results, it can be tempting to accept anything that promises quick success or instant satisfaction. These gifts often appear as shortcuts, ways to achieve what you desire without the waiting, without the process, without the growth that usually comes with it. And while they may deliver results quickly, they often lack the depth and stability that come from things built over time. Patience is part of your calling. It is not just about waiting. It is about becoming. It is about developing the strength, the wisdom, and the character required to sustain what you are asking for. When you bypass that process, you may receive the outcome, but you may not be prepared to maintain it. Some gifts are designed to pull you out of alignment with divine timing. They make you feel like you are behind, like you need to catch up, like you cannot afford to wait. And in that urgency, you may accept something that is not fully aligned simply because it offers immediate results. But immediate gratification often comes at the cost of long-term fulfillment. It may satisfy you in the moment, but it does not sustain you. It does not carry the same depth, the same stability, or the same alignment as something that unfolds in the right time. Do not trade long-term blessings for short-term satisfaction. Trust that what is meant for you is being prepared, even if you cannot see it yet. Trust that the timing has purpose, that the process has value, and that the waiting is not wasted. A chosen woman understands that delay is not denial. She remains patient, grounded, and aligned, knowing that what comes at the right time will not only arrive, it will last. Chosen woman, your life is sacred, your path is intentional, and your discernment is your shield. Not every gift is meant for you, and not every opportunity is aligned with God's will. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is no. Stay grounded, stay prayerful, and most importantly, stay aligned with God's truth, even when it costs you something in the moment. If this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, do not ignore that feeling. It is not a coincidence, it is confirmation. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more messages that guide, protect, and elevate your spiritual journey.